Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. Today is episode number 147. I got something really special for you today. I want to introduce you to one of my very, very favorite, beloved clients. Stay tuned. Hi, everybody. How are you today? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm back in St. Louis, Missouri, in the middle of winter. The sun has finally come out. The sky is blue. It's a gorgeous day. And guess what? I'm getting ready to leave again. Yep. It's my favorite thing to do, travel. So today I'm getting ready to go with my 3 other sisters and my mom. And we are taking a car trip to Florida. We're going to a beach in Destin, Florida, and we're going to stay there for a little over a week. And we are going to be sisterly and motherly, and we are probably going to have a few little fussy fights, and there's going to be a whole lot of love. And boy, I just can't wait. So today, I do have a very, very special guest on, another one of my clients. And I know you hear me say it all the time, but you know, when you get to know somebody so deep and you watch them do such unbelievable work on themselves, how can you not love them? Well, I love this woman. And I can't wait for you to meet her. Her name is DeArcy, and we've been working together for a while. And she is like a new woman. And I want you to kind of hear about her journey from her own words. And if she does not inspire you, well, I don't know what will, because this woman is inspiring. She's going to tell you the good, bad, and the ugly. And I think you'll relate to all of it. And one of the things that she said to me today was that she said that she would not trade this feeling of freedom that she now has for any price in the world. And she values the money that she spent on this working with me as just as valuable as her school education, because it can solve any problem in her life with the information that she has learned. And I'll tell you what, that is powerful. And that is why I think this is life-changing. So I want you to listen to this podcast with DeArcy. I'm so proud that she has done the work on herself. So proud of her. And I hope that she'll be an inspiration for you. And at the end of the call, I'll get back on and say a few words. Okay, here she is, DeArcy. Enjoy. Hello, DeArcy. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Deb. How are you today?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Oh, I am so good. I feel like the best I have in all my 40 years. So
in all your 40.
In all my 40 years, I feel so good. So good.
Okay, so why don't you tell us why you feel so good?
Because I mean, I'm not being trite when I say that I feel like through your coaching that I have figured out how the universe works. And I know that sounds so crazy. And if I was listening to the podcast, I would think that sounded nuts. But honestly, truly, and honestly, I feel that is true.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, let me ask you this then, because I know this is where you are now, and I am so excited. Every single time I talk to you, you get me excited.
Aww.
You get me so excited, number one, to talk to you, to hear you be so excited about you in your own life. But number two, it excites me because this is kind of like my life mission. And then when somebody like you starts talking like this and has so much excitement in their voice, and especially like I always say, I wish I had a recording of our first talk.
Oh, geez, that would have been sad.
Well, it would have been very enlightening because to hear your voice then and to hear your voice now almost doesn't sound like the same person.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, that's a great idea. You should totally do, you should totally do that.
I know. I don't know if you would like to hear
it.
I know.
Yeah, I might be interested just for contrast.
I know. I would too, because it astounds me. every
Yeah.
single time. Okay. So for you, do you want to just share with my listeners where you were at before you called me and like what emotional state you were in, why you initially wanted to reach out to me, and, what did you hope to get out of working with me? Because this is where a lot of people are right now.
Sure. So I was in a very sad state. So this is kind of funny, kind of sad. So I ironic, maybe that's the word for
Okay.
it. So I actually owned a weight loss business myself. I had yo-yo dieted all of my adulthood. So my problem started in college after I left home. I'd always been very active. And then when I went away to college, I didn't have a way to manage it myself. So I have always yo-yo dieted from adulthood. So about, I guess it was 3 years ago, I found a pretty strict plan that worked for me and allowed me to lose 80 pounds. And I was really excited about that. So I got into the business of having I bought a franchise business of that concept that I launched. Well, come to find out that it was like a Band-Aid on the situation. It was your typical diet, but it wasn't really, healing from the inside out and, working with all this mind stuff that I found was so important. So I had been listening to your podcast.
Yeah. How long were you listening to my podcast before you called me?
Oh, a year, maybe a year and a half.
Okay.
A year, maybe a year and a half.
Okay.
And inside, I knew it was always a mental issue, but I kept trying to chase the programs to just deal with the weight right now, and we'll kick that can down the road.
Yes.
I need to fix my thoughts.
I can relate
so finally, yes. So finally ended up that my business did not do well, and I ended up closing the business. Well, I was completely heartbroken at the time that I had to close that business. After I closed the business, I had an incredible depression about that. And also found myself knowing better. I ended up gaining, could have been 50 pounds back in a very short time. And I was feeling so out of control with my eating and feeling so out of control with my headspace. And I knew I needed help. And I knew that another diet, because I knew the insides and outsides of a diet, quote unquote, diet program. I had taught it to others. I know that stuff. I know what to eat. But at the time, I did not know what to do with the feelings when I strayed from my program.
Yeah. So let me interject for a minute. So one of the things that you're saying, and this is, I think, applies to a lot of people, is that as soon as you ended up in a depressed kind of place, what the normal thing was for your little primitive brain to start doing was to start eating again, right? And that's probably why you were yo-yoing over these years. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was just like another circumstance that happened that created thoughts and feelings and actions of using food.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Because that's probably where a lot of people are. So, okay. So what made you call me?
Well, I continued to listen to your podcast, even though I had closed my business, and I continued to listen to your podcast. And
why?
Because deep down in my heart, I knew it was the mental issue stopping me from making permanent life change. That I had all the knowledge I needed about what to eat, but I had no clue whatsoever about how to manage the thoughts around this area. And so I had just gotten to myself to such a bad place. Like I almost invested in that weight loss business because I thought it was an insurance policy to make sure I never gained my weight back. And really, when I started it was really thinking that, okay, well, if I spend all this money and I do this business, that'll make sure that I keep myself on the straight and narrow because I've got clients that I'm going to be working with to try and make sure that I need to be an example for them. So I can't go gaining weight if I own a weight loss business, right?
But you did.
Yeah.
But you did. And so what made you call me?
I was terribly depressed. And as I'm listening to your podcast, I was thinking to myself that I just so much wanted the knowledge that, you said that you learned to help you with your issues
Yeah.
with or surrounding eating. And, I'd heard some of the podcasts that you'd had with some of your successful clients and thought that, wow, I really want that too.
What did you really want?
That feeling of peace around food, like that I had never in my whole life experienced ever. Because even as a child without a weight issue, my parents were very strict about my diet. So it was still like a topic of conversation in the house.
So you were really depressed. You were using food.
Yes. And I had heard one of your podcasts where, of course, you offer up the mini sessions. And so, you were talking about how like one little thing could help someone. And so I thought, well, you know what? I've been listening to her podcast long enough. I clearly don't understand how to fix my own problem. So let me just call and talk to her and see what she has to say.
Was it hard I always wonder about this. Was it a difficult decision to decide to sign up for a mini session? Was it an easy decision? What was it like to sign up for the mini session for you?
Well, I mean, if you're asking me to be honest,
I want you to be honest,
okay,
like you've been the whole time we've been working. Let's not stray from honesty now. Yeah, go ahead.
So if you want me to be honest,
I do.
I knew that after talking with you for a half hour that I would want to do sessions with you.
Oh,
but I would I just knew it because of having appreciated your podcast for so long. I knew that I would want to work with you, but I didn't know what that kind of a program would look like. I was anticipating it would be a serious investment. So I wanted to, I was delaying having the mini session with you because I knew I'd want to work with you, and I wasn't sure what the pricing on all that would be, but I'm so happy that I made that investment in myself, and I would pay it all over again 3 times.
So do you think like when you actually decided to make the appointment for the mini session, it's like you knew that you were just ready to do it and invest in yourself?
Yes, that is correct.
And you needed that kind of time for you to decide, I need help and I'm ready to do it.
Yes, that is correct.
Right. And it was a big investment. Yes.
Yes.
Right. And yet I know. Well, listen, I know. But what did it mean to you to invest in yourself like that, when you started working with me? Because one of the things that we do when we first start working, which I think was so compelling to me about you, is, we talk about a compelling reason on why you want to do this work. And it has to be more than just lose 50 pounds, And for you, one of the things that sticks out with me right now is that one of your compelling reasons was you really just wanted to be able to honor your own commitments to yourself.
Yes. In general, I find myself to be a very upstanding person, high ethics, high integrity with everyone else.
Yes.
but myself. So, I was finding that, I would start the diets on Monday and have all the resolve to make sure that, I stuck to plan. But then as it got to Thursday and Friday, or especially the weekends, that the slips would happen, that I would allow myself to slip. And
that's what you say now, you would allow yourself, but you didn't think that then.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that it just happened.
Yes.
The cookie just happened.
Right. It just floated. It just ended up in your mouth. Yeah. But now you have awareness.
Yes. So I was, and that pattern happened for, I don't know, how many weeks following the close of my business. And, it just made me like sick of myself, like sick of how I was treating myself. I mean, that was really low values there. So,
And so really what I'm hearing is that when you made that phone call, number one, you decided that you were worth the investment. You felt bad enough. And the only person that could possibly take care of you was going to be you, and you were going to do it no matter what.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then when we started talking, and you had a lot of beautiful, compelling reasons, but really the powerful one that I have seen throughout the whole time that I've worked with you is this compelling reason to honor your own commitments.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that is what kept you going through the whole time that you were working with me, even when you didn't like what you saw, even when you had very painful feelings,
Yes.
even when you slipped up, even when you didn't like me so much.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Uh-huh.
You honored your own commitment to yourself, and now you're on the other end talking to other people about this whole experience.
Yes.
How does it feel to be on the other end of that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, life has changed for me. Like I will never be the same person I was before this training. Like period, end of story. And the investment I made in your coaching, I celebrated my 40th birthday in October.
Yeah.
And so this was a big part of my 40th birthday gift to myself. And honestly, I feel like the rest of my years are going to be so much better because I paid for this coaching and I really have got this coaching down deep. Like, I could never unknow the things that I learned through your program. And so, I'm going to be carrying this with me wherever I go.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. So I love talking to you. Can I tell you that?
Well, I love talking to you.
I know. I love it. So, like when you say, because it's a strong statement to say that my whole life has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I always want, like if you can just say a little bit more about what you mean about that, because you are losing weight. You do, it seems to me like, how do you look at food now compared to how you used to look at it? Because what you wanted was you wanted peace around food, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
do you?
Oh, yes. Oh, I have complete peace about food. And it used to be that even when I was slim and trim and, I call it like on the horse, like even when even when I was slim trim on the horse, like there was always that white knuckling feeling about it. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was never, oh, no problem. It was when I go to parties and see other people eating things like that. There was never a time when, even if I was being quote unquote good
Mm-hmm.
on my diet, that I didn't also like pine for the things that I saw everybody else eating and thought that, man, it's not fair that I don't get to eat all of those things. And now there is none of that. I can be around anybody eating anything. And, if it's not for me, that, because I say that it's not for me,
Ah, yeah.
it's not that feel absolutely no temptation about it. Like that's what they're eating. That's not what I'm eating. I eat dinner with my kids every day. They sometimes want to eat things that kids eat, like pizza and chicken fingers and fries and all of that. And I sit with them every day, and there's no trauma or drama or anything about it. And I think one of the key things you taught me that really helped me with that is understanding the net benefit of foods. So we talked about how if I, like I feel like, oh, I really want this pizza. Okay, well, you can have the pizza, but are you going to feel good in the moment eating the pizza? And then later you feel so gross and disgusting that you're like, oh my gosh, why did I eat all that pizza? And then the
Mm-hmm.
next day when you get on the scale and you see that the scale has risen, are you going to be sad that you did that? And so in that case, was that really a positive experience? Because it
Mm-hmm.
looks like that there's all this negative fallout that happens when you eat the pizza. So you're not telling me I can't eat the pizza. You're just saying, hey, these are the consequences. Are you ready to sign up for those consequences when you eat that pizza? And so that's when I realized, like, wow, okay, I am not getting a net benefit from eating flour and sugar. And in fact, they're horribly detrimental to me in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
I might have that moment of pleasure, like right in the moment
Yep.
for that one first bite. But then after that, I feel like horrible about all that and the brain fog and all. So that key concept of learning, then is it a net benefit or is it a net
I
detriment?
love what you say about that because really I just call it consequences.
Yeah.
And I love your term net benefit. I'm probably going to use
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
You come up with a lot of brilliant ideas for me. So I really appreciate that too. But it's really true that one of the things that we really worked on, and I work on with lots of clients, and anybody that's listening can do this, is the reason that we try to plan ahead of time about any food that we want to eat, especially a food that has no nutritional value, is we want to use that smart part of our brain to decide if we really want it or not and not give into an urge, right? Because in the moment, the urge is so strong, right? That if you go, well, I'm just going to see how I feel like it. Well, we know how you're going to feel.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Right. The urge is going to be give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. But what you're saying is if you think about it ahead of time, and you really think about what the consequences are going to be of eating that, do you want the consequences? Do you want the possible weight gain? Do you want the foggy feeling? Do you want to have that feeling? And if you say, sometimes people will say, and sometimes you probably have said, it's okay. I'm okay with that. So you're not surprised the next day. And then you move on with whatever it is you're doing. You don't make a big deal. There's no drama, nothing. Yep. I signed up for that. That's what I got.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was powerful for you.
Yeah. But those, like the freedom, like after you've been sugar-free, flour-free for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
that, because we were working, I think we started working together in August.
Mm-hmm.
My 40th birthday was in October. So I took a big cruise with some friends for my birthday. And so you and I had worked together a little bit. Then I go on the I go on the cruise.
Yes.
And I decided ahead of time that I was going to drink. But
we could say a lot about drinking too. We'll probably try to get back to that, but go on.
Yeah, but that I was going to drink, but that I was going to stay on plan. But just, in other ways, eating wise, but just the sugars that came from the alcohol. And now, mind you, I was trying to drink as clean as I could. So things like vodka and whatever, but it was enough sugar that it really sent me for a loop of cravings and urges. And I mean, that just reared their ugly head.
Yeah.
After I added alcohol back in, that that really taught me my lesson about, do you really want those things? Because just the head trip of sugar and flour occupying your mind, getting you to want to think about the next snacks and stuff. I mean, just
the urges.
that,
You're talking about the urges that are created by that.
Yes, the chemical urges that are created in your brain from the sugar. I mean, that's just the worst feeling in the world to me. So now that I recognize where those feelings come from,
Mm-hmm.
I am very careful to not eat foods that can cause that to happen, in a day or so. It's just not worth it at all to me to go through the drama of those sugar cravings and urges.
So, which brings me to a really important subject and important point, because I think this is good for everybody to hear. So the whole time that we were working together was not rainbows and daisies. Is that right?
No, ma'am. And I'm I'm so happy that I mean, you kept working with me, so I guess I didn't show my behind that much through that process.
No, you did show your behind, but
okay.
That didn't matter to me because I knew what your compelling reason was, and I knew you were going to get there because you were willing to keep your own back and keep it up. That's why I was willing to keep working with you, because you were willing to work with yourself.
I mean, I just realized through the process that I have never really dealt with my true feelings of things. I have been, and I guess it's from my upbringing or what have you, that nice girls don't have strong feelings about things. And I'm from the South, and I think that comes from down here where, we're just so polite.
Yep. Belief systems. Yes.
Yeah. And our belief system. So, nice girls don't have strong feelings about things. We just try and, make life nice for everyone around us. So as I couldn't buffer with food anymore because we had taken that off the table, I couldn't buffer with food anymore. All these emotions just came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot of anger at you. for these feelings and emotions and stuff I had to work through. It wasn't you, but
Right,
at
of
the
course.
time I couldn't put it together, but I'm glad I stuck with it and got through to the other side for sure.
Right. And so that is something for everybody to be very, very clear with, is that the reason you are so successful now is because you had a lot of negative emotion. You had a lot of slip ups and you didn't give up on yourself. And now when you're on the other side, and even like when you're talking about the cruise that you went on,
Yeah.
because you didn't give up on yourself, you learned so much about yourself, what creates problems for you. And now you've got your own back and you've made decisions about all that because you've done it, you've been through it, and you probably have done this your whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm going on a cruise, and your little brain starts going crazy about all the stuff that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And preparing for that, like I think now you are so much more in tune to yourself. And the reason that I think you feel so fantastic about yourself, and you can tell me where I'm wrong and why you know this is the last time, is because you went through that and came out on the other end stronger. Tell me where I'm wrong.
No, that's absolutely right. And another thing I wanted to say is I have such perfectionistic tendencies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember, but I kind of remember talking to you the first time and I was convinced I was going to be your star pupil. And
one of my many clients that come in like that, like I'm going to do everything perfectly. Now that I'm working with her, I'm going to do it all perfectly. And it's a rude awakening. Tell me.
Oh, yes, because the learning, like really the learning of your program is when you slip and fall and you're not perfect. And that's where all the tools come into play and you use those tools. Like you don't use all the tools that you're given until those slip ups and until you have to manage all those emotions around that stuff. So it's so funny. Like I was just so naive to think, oh, I'm going to do everything perfect. And, I'm going to lose all this weight with Dr. Deb and I'm going to be her star pupil. And so towards the middle, when I was just messing up all over the place, and you were hanging with me and you were telling me this is all part of the plan. We know this is happening because it's supposed to happen and, God's precise timing and whatever. And
this is where you learn everything.
Yes. And I didn't believe that at the time, and now
you did
I
not
totally
believe
understand
me.
it. I did not believe you at the time, and
Correct.
That was very painful for me to be messing it up. And I wanted to please you, and now what I realize is it's not about pleasing you; it's about me knowing how to do this for myself on my own. And this is why it's going to be the last time I ever have to lose weight or go on a program or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And so I think what's really important for everybody that's listening is that is what strengthens you. Because the reason, if you've been a yo-yo dieter like you and like me, is because when things got hard, we stopped. When we messed up, we stopped. And then we said it didn't work. But the only thing that really wasn't working is what we weren't working. And when you're willing, like you did, DeArcy, stick with yourself, and you still stuck with everything that you were. If it was food journals or whatever it was, you still did them. You didn't like it, but you still did it. Because you had that compelling reason that you were going to honor the commitments to yourself as best as you could and stick with it. And would you say the sticking with it, you sticking with it, is why you are where you are right now?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And now when you say it's life-changing, my guess is half the reason it's life-changing is because you can stick with anything.
Yeah, I do feel that way.
I know. So like you said to me, everything in my life has changed. Mm-hmm. You said, in a nutshell, my entire life has completely changed and improved 1,000%.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the big thing, one of the other gems I love of your training is talking about how to feel your feelings through mm-hmm. and how to sit with them.
Yep.
And how that a feeling cannot kill you. It certainly feels uncomfortable, and it's not like the best thing ever when you're feeling like, depressed or tired or, all these feelings that come up in normal life. But like just knowing that, hey, it's not going to kill me if I just sit with this a little bit. Like there's no power this feeling has over me that, that I have to buffer with food or buffer with other things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can feel that. And honestly, I don't think I'd ever felt permission to feel my feelings all the way through, or to like allow myself to feel my feelings all the way through. So
that was like a wonderful gift you gave yourself.
Yes.
Right.
For sure.
And so I think, in finishing up what we're talking about, I think a great way to end this is that since you stopped using food and alcohol, what has happened to your life with all of this extra space?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's almost spooky. I mean, it is really so spooky. I mean, not only did I get over, not only have I started to lose weight. So I'm like probably 25 pounds in right now. And I feel totally comfortable and confident that the rest of it's going to come off no problem. Like it's just a done deal. It's happening. I'm just in process, right?
Listen, so people, listen to DeArcy. That's the way you have to think. That's the way you got to think. And everybody knows when they heard you say that, you're 100% believe it.
Yeah, I do. And when I was sitting on the other side listening to podcasts, I was like, that's just crazy. Like, what are you talking about? But, but so, I'm losing weight. Yes, that's awesome and amazing. And why I came to you. But the other like amazing side benefits has been that I have totally come out of my depression about, my business that I closed.
Right. Because we did a lot of work on that with your mind, correct?
Yeah.
We really,
right. Because I get to choose how I think about the business, me closing the business. So I can make it, I closed the business failed. I could make it, I could put that thought on it. Or I could choose to say, I chose to close that business because it wasn't the right fit for me. And, there were some, and that just, I'm able to understand that. And also that, that many entrepreneurs have bumps in the road along the way. And usually their first venture isn't their last venture. The first venture is usually not the one that they end up doing really well with. So just changing my thought about it, and that I can think about what happened and actually put some positives on it. And so that helped tremendously.
And it's kind of similar. It's kind of similar to the weight loss journey too, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So the weight loss is just like weight loss is just like a positive side effect of when you really understand the model inside and out, which you so patiently helped me get down deep in my soul. So weight loss is just a side effect and a benefit, but so many positive things have happened in my life, like improving this depression, and things at work got even better because, I'm having such better thoughts about things. And, things with my kids and my husband, like being able to have emotions and talk about emotions. That's so much more productive than stuffing it down with food. Like I can talk to my husband now and tell him what I'm feeling about things. And that's just so much more constructive than, I'm pissed, so I'm going to like carve out over here. Mm-hmm. So many great things. Like really, I think it's people knowing this, you're doing incredible work. And I think that, everybody needs to give themselves the gift of really learning the model inside and out. And if that means like signing up with you to get some coaching, like so be it. Or, I couldn't learn it just from listening to the podcast. Mm-hmm. I really needed somebody to hold my hand through it. And thank you so much for doing that.
Well, let me tell you, it was the biggest pleasure working with you and watching you transform, because that's exactly what happened during this time. And it was an honor to be able to do that with you. And I loved every minute of it.
Wow.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. Thank you, DeArcy. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Anytime.
Thank you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, what did I tell you? I know. It's powerful to listen to somebody who has gone through this. And for all of you who are out there and there has to be a better way, there is. And it's not really about a diet or no flour, no sugar, because some of my clients do it that way, some of them don't. It's really not about that. For some, it's just a whole lot easier, just because the urges are so much less. But the most important thing is that you're willing to stick with yourself and commit to yourself no matter what while you go through this. And there's only one thing that can happen if you do that. And DeArcy is a perfect example of just sticking with herself through the whole time, even though she wanted to leave a few times. And she said to me, and she didn't say it in the podcast, so I do want you to hear this, but what she said to me is she said, I am now not afraid to feel my feelings. I can feel them all the way through without buffering with food to numb myself out. I realize that a feeling cannot kill me, and it's okay just to allow it. That's what I wish for all of you, because I'll tell you, when you have that power, food has no power over you. Now, if this is what you want for yourself, then you can schedule a mini session just like DeArcy did. And maybe that's the beginning of you deciding that this is what you're going to do no matter what. You're going to stick with yourself and you're going to honor your commitments no matter what. And you're going to get this done. You can go to drdebbutler.com/work with me, and you can schedule a mini session. And you can do what DeArcy has done. This sounds good. Go do it. And as always, please, please don't forget to be very, very, very kind to yourself. You are so worth it. Bye-bye.
If you're ready to take your eating issues to another higher, more improved level, well, it's time to talk to my wife, Dr. Deborah. She's helped hundreds and thousands of people. Just visit drdebbutler.com/work with me. You'll get a free consultation with Dr. Deb and find out if coaching and talking to my wife is a solution to your struggles.